What's the biggest mistake you've ever made? Letting other people dictate my life. Spent my childhood doing it, even up at a college I hated then flunked out of. And being under your parents' thumb and not standing up for yourself tends to lead to being an adult that is very unprepared to face the world without depending on a parent, which is likely their intention. Breaking the cycle was hard, but worth it. And I've learned as an adult that I like the life I created for myself and don't need to bend to pressure over certain things. Having kids, etc. So on the one hand, I do miss a lot of things I missed out on in my early life because I let myself be controlled. On the other, there's still plenty of my life left to enjoy now that I've recognized the issue and cut it off. You just put into words what I've been feeling lately. How did you break out? I'm feeling the same RN and want to break out of this because my mother is some kind of controlling. I ate buffalo wings then wiped sweat from my eye. I cut up habanero peppers to get seeds for my garden, washed my hands thoroughly, then took a leak. Turns out I didn't wash them thoroughly enough. RIP. Once I was making dinner and I cut up some peppers, not even super hot ones, but about 10 minutes later my hands just started burning. Running them underwater, rinsing them with soap, nothing stopped it. They didn't swell up or anything, they just kept stinging. I was literally up all night because I couldn't sleep because my hands hurt so bad and it was so distracting I couldn't sleep. It took a good 24 hours for them to stop hurting. Now I use food safety gloves anytime I touch a pepper. Safety gloves are probably the best solution, but generally you can wash off capsaicin with oil or lemon juice. That said, whatever is already absorbed into your skin will stay and itch. Picking on people in high school. I was picked on in elementary and middle school, and as soon I gained some popularity from being good at sports I turned into a bully. I did it because I wanted the same people who were mean to me to like me. Every time I think back to those days I get sick to my stomach. If you know who they are, and there are open lines of communication like a public FB page, not like weird stuff like going to their parents to ask for info, have you considered maybe sending them an apology? It might help you and them get closure, though it is also entirely possible they won't forgive you as well, which is alright. But it might be worth trying. It worked for Billy Madison. In fact it saved his life. Man, I'm glad I called that guy. I got bullied around 3 years ago. Now I ain't anymore, and I try to be friendly to everyone. But there are still some people who don't like me. My social anxiety caused me not to stand up to my abusive dad, and I still blame myself for the dysfunction in the home. I was the perfect target because of my social anxiety and speech problem and he knew it. That was not your fault. You are strong for overcoming it. Social anxiety is no joke. Thank you. During that time, my mom would yell at me for not standing up to my dad when he would bully her. She would angry at me a lot for not opening my mouth. I guess I internalized that. The sad thing is, I know it wasn't my fault. But I know I will also have that self-blame in the back of my head for the rest of my life. I just realized that no therapist will get rid of that completely. She can't solely rely on you to stand up for her. You were a kid. As difficult as it is, trust me I know, she should have left and took you with her. Staying married to my wife after she had an affair, I have resented her every day since. This was 4 years ago, so if I would have divorced her then everything would be normal by now. If you do it today, then at least in 4 years everything will be normal again. Now she would be entitled to part of my pension and 401k. At this point I'll keep working till one of us dies. You choose misery for the next however many plus decades over a financial hit. Money can be recouped. Time can't. Just a thought, but would some form of counseling, individual and as a couple, help you? If you're absolutely certain that you want to stay married, would it not be a good idea to make the best of it, rather than stew in resentment and hate and poison your own life? This is your one and only life. Wouldn't you like to be happy? Started smoking cigarettes at age 18. Started at 14. Gotcha. Cries desperately with cig in hand. It's a dumb thing to try to evangelize about, I know. But try vaping. I smoked for 12 years. And although I'm under no delusion that I quit smoking. I swapped to something less deadly. I've not smoked for about 6 years now, and I feel much better for it. Better than actually smoking. I quit after 20 years, but my husband didn't give me the option to vape. I'm grateful for that. Well, bitter and cold Wisconsin winters got me to quit. But you have to be ready. I also had to chew gum. Letting my abusive mother dictate how I felt about myself for so many years, and forgiving her when she'd put in the bare minimum of effort after years of absenteeism. If I'd ever demanded an apology and held myself up with respect, she'd have shown her true colors. Instead, I let myself get into situations where I relied on her because I wanted to believe I had a family who cared for me. Her issues have nothing to do with me, and it's not my responsibility to carry them. I have wonderful friends and a great sister. That's more than a lot of people get. Flogging the dead horse, which is my relationship with my mother, gets in the way of my gratitude for all the great things in my life. Agreed to get into a relationship with a girl who had bipolar. For the record, I'm not saying everyone with bipolar is bad, and you shouldn't date them. We did have nice times together. But she didn't realize how bad her condition was getting, and I overestimated my ability to deal with it. By the end, I was a mental and physical wreck, while she just blamed me for everything and then left to immediately start seeing other men. If given a second chance, I wouldn't agree to it. The good times did not outweigh the damage to my health. I think a rather apt description of her was, when she left our flat, she took all the condoms, but left behind all her official documentation. To have restarted smoking after successfully quitting for more than a year, it's a mistake I've made thrice already. Fourth time's a charm. But seriously, hope you will quit for good. You will never smoke again. Next time you're about to, think about this comment. You will never smoke again, because I said so. It won't work, but you never know. I've been there. Now did quit for 4 months now. I hope this time is for good. This time is for good. No hoping required. Quitting is the easy part. Remembering why you quit and sticking to it is hard. Staying outside of the hospital room when my friend's dad passed. He was getting a liver transplant, but at that point he was too sick. I sat outside the room while they took him off of life support, and I regret it so much. I wish I could been close to my friend and her sister when he passed, but I feel a little better knowing my mom was with them. Their mom passed about a year before their dad, and I didn't know her that well, but I've always wanted to be a comfort for my friend. I feel like I regret the decision less now, but I'll think about it for a long time. Not talking to my father more for the last 2 weeks he was alive. He and my mom were in the middle of a divorce, and he was moving out. He never really talked about his feelings, never even seen him cry. I figured he would talk about it when he was ready, so I just went on business as usual. He killed himself on the day he was supposed to move out. Found out later from my mom that he had pretty bad depression while they were married, but never sought help. I would give anything just to be able to go back and talk with him some more. Dating my ex, she ruined me physically, emotionally, and financially. In the same vein as this, I was terrible to my ex emotionally. I feel like if I had confronted my issues before everything fell apart, we would still be together and happy. She was really something special, and I hope one day she can feel that way about herself after everything I've done. If it makes things easier, I think she probably was trying, and she did care for you, but she just wasn't at the right point in her life. Married my ex-wife. Not regretting it at all. 3 amazing kids and a truly awesome divorced life. But definitely the biggest mistake. IDK, if you can call it a mistake, if you don't regret it. Just because you won't do something again doesn't mean you have to regret it, which is a weird thing to say. My mom despises her second ex-husband as a terrible person, and if she knew how he'd treat her in marriage, she'd have never gotten married to him. But she doesn't regret the marriage because she loves her 2 youngest kids. Not looking left enough. When I made a left turn in my car, a car hit us and slightly injured the person next to me. I get an extremely guilty feeling even thinking about it. Pain in my stomach. Can't bear myself to talk about it. Please go and talk to a therapist counselor about this. You don't deserve to be carrying this guilt and negativity. Talking it out will turn it from something that is still happening to something that happened in the past and that you learn from. Best of luck. Sold my first car. A 2008 Chrysler Sebring with 120,000 miles for a 2003 Mitsubishi Eclipse with 180,000 miles cause my friends peer pressured me into getting a sports car. Had it for 4 months and the transmission went out on me and haven't had a car since. Biggest mistake for me so far. Now I just use my mom's car, but I'm about to transfer to a college and my mom is keeping her car, so I'm kind of sole. Choosing to be lazy when I'm actually ambitious and have many interests. I make that mistake most days. I have completely lost my motivation to work out. Every day, I get home, straighten up, maybe do some laundry, then veg on the couch. I used to work out almost every day. Now, lucky if it's twice a month. Don't know how to break out of it other than to just do it, but I won't just do it, because I'd rather veg. Cheating on the first person who I sent my family to love me the way she did. We're not in contact anymore, but I still think about it all the time. One of those things I wish I could take back, but can't. Also have to constantly remind myself that I have to live with what happened and just have to be better moving forward. BC the past can never change. I really regret hurting her like that. I hate being the person that makes her trust the world less. Thinking that if I was distant I was safe. Actually not. I managed to fall in a narcissist trap 2870 kilometers away from me. Wait, how? I didn't even know those were a thing and I have no idea what they are besides being a bad thing. I thought the same until it happened. Today I laugh of it. It works practically the same as narc relationship, but at distance. I got surprised when I learned of it. Being too cool to try a lot of things. I spent a lot of time sitting on the sidelines being cool while I could have been having fun. My graduation speech, I gave this advice to the classes below me. I hope they heard it and took it to heart. I've been lucky enough to have a few friends over the years who have identified this flaw in me and have dragged me, kicking and screaming, to go to things I end up loving.